Good Morning Miramar, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m., right here, right now.
Good morning, Miramar. My name is Danielle Reales, Marketing Coordinator with the City of Miramar's Office of Marketing and Public Relations.
Good morning, Miramar. My name is Alexis Fox. I'm also a Marketing Coordinator with the City of Miramar's Office of Marketing and Public Relations.
We are so excited to bring you another flashback episode. We're presenting to you the best of 2017 episodes, just looking back at some of our favorite shows that happened this great year of 2017. Yes, so we're really excited to share that with you, and we hope that all of you enjoy. So today's episode, Alexis, that we're going to be looking back on actually features Dr. Shaniqua Fleming and Kimberly Wilson, both Miramar business owners.
Nice.
And both just really great female entrepreneurs who are here, just to kind of share their story on how they got to where they are and just some of their great tips for entrepreneurship here in the City of Miramar.
Absolutely, and we're super excited to show this episode again. It was a really insightful and inspiring one, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
Yes. Dr. Fleming is a very inspirational woman, and I'm so happy to have her here on the show today because she's going to really be talking to us about what leadership really is and kind of how her entrepreneurial journey began. So I'm really excited to pick your brain and get a little bit of insight from you. But before we do that, tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know we shared some information here, but in your own words, just introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. As Danielle told you, I'm Shaniqua Fleming, and I am a woman, a wife, a mother, and a child of God who's really excited about living and walking in my purpose. Oftentimes we don't get to talk about who we are in the sense of just who we are supposed to be. We talk about who we are in terms of what we do. And so for me, that's important because authenticity really has to be at the core of everything we do and all that we are. So those are probably things that you won't normally read in a bio, but that's who I am in a nutshell. And I'm a foodie, so yes. I'm excited about the next segment because I'm going to stick around to indulge.
Yes. There are some treats coming up in the next segment and another amazing entrepreneur right here in Miramar, so we want you to stick around for that. But before we get into that, Dr. Fleming, we talked a little bit about your business. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about kind of your path toward authenticity, kind of discovering yourself in your career and, throughout your education and different positions that you've held. Tell us about that journey.
Okay. Interesting question. So one of the things I learned early on, Danielle, was that I was always a leader. There's this whole discourse about, are leaders born or are they made? Well, I think it's a little bit of both, but I'm definitely one that was born. And so from as far back as I can remember, I've always, found myself in a position affecting change. And that for me is what leadership is. It's not just about a role or a title or, a position. It's more about getting people to do what it is that needs to happen and them wanting to do it in the first place, right? And so for me, that has always been, like at the foundation of who I am. And as I, matriculated throughout school and then into the professional world, I found myself in leadership roles very early on. I think I had my first leadership position, I was maybe about 23 years old. So I had this MBA, so I understood what the books told me leadership was, but I very, very quickly understood that it was more about that and more about connecting with people. Yeah. And so because I was always the youngest person in the room and also a woman in the room, we can't forget that, and also, an African American in the room, that was always an interesting, mix. And so for me, it was more of, okay, who am I as a leader? And so a lot of that was shaped by what was around me and how was I to get accepted in the room and have my voice heard. And one of the earliest experience I can remember having was, again, being the youngest. All of my colleagues were older. I remember I never wear jeans on Fridays. So if you ever see me, I'm not really going to have on jeans because I look like a kid, like a 12-year-old. And so I remember this one Friday, I did decide that, we were doing something at the organization I was in, and I wore jeans. And maybe it was my imagination, but I don't think so. I got a very different response from my colleagues. And I realized then that, you have to show up as, you know, how you want to be seen or respected. But for a long time, I didn't really know what that meant. I thought it meant, you know, I had to be buttoned up, I had to do these things. But in all actuality, it was just really about my voice, meaning what were my values. So I came into, you know, the understanding of it's less about what people only see on the outside and what are you exuding from the inside. So for me, it started to be more a voice of values. And I truly believe that everything we do, all that we are, we act, we think, we decide, we connect based on the things we value and based on those things that drive us as values.
Definitely. And you just made me think of something when you mentioned the fact that you were always the youngest and kind of the only woman in a
I'm okay
leadership
with that
role.
now, by the way.
Yes, which is amazing. And I think it's super inspirational to a lot of different people. But wanted to ask you, how do you combat the stigma or the idea that women in leadership are bossy or controlling, or maybe kind of like those negative words that wouldn't necessarily be tacked to your male counterparts?
Well, there are a couple things there. The first is you can't ignore that those stigmas are out there, right? But the second thing is you can't buy into them either.
Right.
And I often say to women that I'm coaching either in executive roles and or leadership roles, women need to just be women. We have things about us that really make us dynamic as a leader. And so there are natural abilities that we have. Lean into those, embrace those, be who you are. And I also say men don't want to do business with women that act like men. And for all the men that are listening, I'm sure you'll agree with that. They want to connect with us and relate with us and work with us because we bring, you know, a softness and a femininity that is okay.
Right.
And just embrace that. You know, there are things that we can do that we can sometimes get a point across and others can't. My grandmother would always say, you catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar. So I always make sure I'm laced in honey.
Definitely. And I love that you said that because I think there's something, you know, a lot of women, maybe women who haven't gone through executive coaching,
Right.
they feel that need to compete with the male counterparts to maybe, you know, I have to be better, I have to work harder, I have to be better than they are.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean, like you said, doing things the exact same way that they would.
Absolutely not.
Being true to yourself, you know?
Right. I was on a call with a client yesterday, and one of the things we were exploring was she said something that resonate that stuck with me. She said, I always felt like I had to do things even better and I had to give 200%. And so I asked her, I said, so what does 200% look like? So does that mean, she says, well, it means that I'm doing the best that I can and also, you know, anticipating what others would want me to do. I said, then you're not giving anything. Right. You're giving them something. Authenticity is very important. And so we can sustain things for a long time if it's really who we are. So if it's not authentic, you may be able to get by with it, if you will, for a little while, but authenticity is what is sustainable. And so, you know, at the end of that call, we talked about it and I said, well, if you give 100% of who you are and collaborate with others for the areas where you may not be strong, that's where the spirit of excellence is really, you know, born. It's not, we all have components of excellence in us, but the true spirit of excellence comes from the collaboration and the meeting of the minds where our strengths may not be the strengths of others, but we build each other up. Collaboration really isn't a 4-letter word. It really isn't.
I love that. I also want to talk to you today about your business.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about kind of how you started it. Where did you get this idea that you could really branch out on your own and do this? And tell us a little bit about the services that you provide to your clients.
Okay, so this actually came to be in about 1999. And so it was more on a part-time basis. So I remember I was doing, again, I think I was doing my master's, and I had one professor who, Dr. McCartney, and he was an industrial psychiatrist. And I remember I loved that class, organizational behavior. I was just intrigued and fascinated with human behavior and how we think and why we do what we do. And I remember working with him on a project. So he kind of took me on as like an intern. And I prepped, I did all the research, we prepared for this team building exercise that we were going to do with an organization. And he would always say to me, you're born for this. And I was like, no, I like it, but I don't know that yet. And so I remember the morning of the team building, he said to me, he called me Nico. I don't think he could say Shaniqua. So he said, Nico, he wasn't feeling well. He was losing his voice. He said, you're going to have to lead this. And so I just kind of looked at him, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I said,
Right.
me? And he said, yes. And so, but then there's this inner, I guess, spirit in me that says, you can do this, right? Like, because you want to do it anyway. You've been telling him how he should do it. So now you get the opportunity that you be careful what you ask for.
Right.
So I did. And at the end of the day, it just felt right. It felt natural. It felt like I had been doing it for years. And so he convinced me to start consulting, to take on a couple pro bono projects, and then to get some that I was paid for. I learned soon after that I wasn't really charging my worth, but that was okay too, because I was having fun.
Right.
And then I started to partner with other consultants, which is why you get the over 25 years, because we have different expertise. And so that was all on a part-time basis, right? And so we were taking projects here and there, and it was just fun. And I was still working full-time in organizations, so that's why it was a part-time thing. And then recently, I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine, and I believe she's watching. She'll know who she is. And she said to me, you're really at a crossroad where you could go either way. You are dynamic, and you can be, a leading executive in any organization that you choose to, or you can choose to now step out and build your own. And I had to think about that, Danielle. I wasn't sure because the path was sure and almost paved for me as it related to my professional, journey within an organization. But I was also doing some really great things on my own that was a secret, if you will.
Right.
So
people didn't really know.
No, they didn't know. And they knew, my organization if they'd work with me, but they didn't know who Shaniqua was. And so that's why a lot of what I've been doing lately has been to brand Shaniqua Fleming, Dr. Shaniqua Fleming, the person that's really behind the work and the genius that people are able to experience. So that's kind of, where I got. And so in December of last year, I made a commitment to 100% commit to Perfect Solutions Consulting Group. And that's where I've been ever since.
Made the leap.
I made the leap.
So it's been almost a year.
Yes.
Coming up. And
Yay.
So proud of you. And
thank you.
Congratulations on that. From kind of the short story that you've shared and talking a little bit earlier about being authentic to yourself, was that like a scary moment for you, maybe making that decision?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it was scary, and the biggest part for me was what we're doing now, being visible, being on film. I didn't want to do that.
Really?
And so I thought to myself, are you going to let pictures and film, get in the way of living your true purpose? And how authentic is it for you to not live your truth? And this is what you give and pour into people every day, at the fabric of the very fabric of what leadership is, authenticity.
Absolutely.
So I'm here.
Yes. And we're so happy you're here. We're so happy that you're putting yourself out there and your business out there to offer these services to people. For our audience members who are looking to partner with you or looking to kind of pick your brain or get some coaching from you in that degree, how can they reach out to you?
Right. So you can follow me on social media, Dr. Shaniqua Fleming. And one of the things I'll say is I don't really do pick my brain sessions. I want people to invest in what it is that they want. So there are different ways to invest. There's one-on-one coaching. I actually have some really exciting things coming up in 2018 in terms of some cohort programs for leadership development. So there are going to be, multiple ways that we can actually help them accelerate, optimize, and elevate their performance. So
it's really exciting. You're like the dream mentor, I feel like.
Well, let's make that happen,
yes,
Danielle.
Absolutely. And, I love, everything that you've shared with us. And before I let you go, I do want you to just talk about one more thing. What's the importance, in your opinion, of developing this pipeline of like future leaders?
It's critical, and it's really important to the viability of not just organizations, but communities. And that's one of the reasons I'm humble and thankful to be here, because Miramar is a community that really does walk the talk, if you will. And so community leadership is very important. It's more about, shared passions and interests that bring to life a vision for the common good. And so cultivating a pipeline of leaders is really important, because it's not about the millennial generation or the boomer generation. It's about what do we need to do to move forward as a community. So, we have lots of work to do. with regard to health disparities, social injustice, race relations, economic empowerment, and even environmental preservation. So there's a lot for all of us to do. And it doesn't come from one thought process. It comes from the meeting of the minds of everyone in the community, doing what's good for the community, and being an example and modeling the way of how we get it done. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for being here today and for sharing all of that with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Now remember, at Dr. Shaniqua Fleming on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
LinkedIn.
I'm becoming more active, so that's another
Yes.
part of the visibility.
Yes, and that's good. And, to see the face
Yes.
behind the brand and the business and the brand that is Dr. Fleming. So thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Mrs. Kimberly Wilson, she is also an alum of Florida A&M University.
Yes, Rattlers, FAMU.
Yes, so we wanted to make sure we mentioned that because we have a little family going on here on the show this morning. But continuing with our theme from our last segment, and for those of you who didn't tune in, we were talking with Dr. Shaniqua Fleming on leadership and really living true and authentically and kind of coming out of maybe a box or a shadow that you were in before and really pursuing your passion and what you love. And I have Kimberly here today because she's going to talk to us about her business,
Yes.
Exquisite Creations. But before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of like your background and how this journey started for you.
Well, as you said, I am a Florida A&M alumni, FAMU. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and social work. Prior to baking, which kind of just happened, I worked for Florida Department of Law Enforcement, for the state of Florida as a probation officer. And just to be very transparent, I hated my job.
Mm-hmm.
I hated all that it entailed. It didn't pay. And it put me in a mental space where I was always down because it was always negativity and,
Right.
the society we grew up in is not the best.
It's not a pretty world.
And so when I was planning my wedding, my husband said, you need to find something to do. You're getting on my nerves, find something to do. And I always liked to bake. Like I always made pies and stuff with my mother as a child and even when I was in college. So I went to Michael's to look at the wedding stuff and I went into the baking aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget it. My friend Jamia, that was the first cake I made. I think it was January 2011.
Okay.
For her birthday. And it was a box cake and I was really, really proud of it. And my husband, who's my biggest support system, he said to me, well, in Doral, there are some cake stores. So he went in there. They knew him before they knew me.
Okay.
Because he'd always go in there and he'd buy fondant and he'd come help and help me make cakes. And, we proceeded to grow from there. And I would take the stuff to my friends at work. And word got around in the building of 200-300 people that Kim has cupcakes. And it just started growing till people would say, well, would you bake for my party or Christmas? And before I knew it, I was not only an officer, but I had a baking business on the side.
Right.
Fast forward to 2013, I had my daughter. I did not want to go back to work. I was miserable. There were things going on at work. You work for the government, politics. I was not very happy, and I'm very vocal.
Right.
So I said to God, I don't want to be here anymore. I remember after having her going to work, crying every day, saying, God, just release me from this place. And not knowing, later on that year, there was an altercation that happened, and it ended up getting me fired, which was the best thing ever.
Yes.
And I remember telling my husband, they're going to fire me. He was like, you didn't do anything wrong. I said, no. God is letting me know I have to close this door. You're too comfortable here. I have to close this door. So because I am a Christian and I do believe in God and I have faith, I decided I'm going to trust him. He's not leading me down this path for anything. I'm going to trust him, which is why I'm so transparent about it. Some people are like, why would you tell people that? Because people get fired every day. It's what are you going to do? Are you going to sit there and just wallow in self-pity? Or are you going to pick yourself up and say, you know what? God has given me a talent. It is growing. And I'm going to trust God and I'm going to walk this path. So I use that time to travel. I begin to teach classes online. Right now I teach online. I teach on Periscope. I teach Facebook. I have students all over the world. I'm actually going to California next year to teach at the Cake Bar Show, which is going to be in Long Beach, California. So God has just been blessing me and just growing my business. And this year I decided this was going to be the year we got our house back, that we would take our house back from the business because Cake Stuff was everywhere and get a commercial location. And we have successfully done that. We opened last month. We're located right by Miramar High School in the Miramar Shops Plaza. Today I have two of my number one sellers, other than most people know my sweet potato cupcake because my family is from the South. So people like sweet potato, my number one seller. But today I brought key lime and banana pudding to share with the staff here at Miramar. So you guys get to actually taste some of my treats. But my business is called Exquisite Creations because we not only bake, we also host classes. So if you're interested in learning how to make candy apples, cake pops, cakes, this is the one-stop shop. And we also host kids classes, kids birthday parties, kids baking birthday parties. The bakery is really big. If you come there, it's not your average bakery.
Right.
It's very glam, like me.
Yes.
It's very big because we have a rental space as well. So like I have a customer, yes, I'll be meeting with my client today. We're doing an all-inclusive baby shower. So for me, the business started because not only was I bored, but I have children. So I didn't like the atmosphere of Chuck E. Cheese.
No. Yeah.
I wanted something more personal, more inclusive, more that I could have control over. So it just all came into one, and that's why it's called Exquisite Creations. And people, I don't have an average bakery name because we do more than that. I also do dessert tables. I have chairs that I rent for weddings and baby showers. And along with the desserts, it's a one-stop shop to come have your event. So I'm just very excited to now have a commercial location to be able to offer my desserts to trillions and trillions of people on a larger scale. And I'm just so blessed and excited for what the future holds and the direction that God is sending me in.
Absolutely. And we're so excited to have you, a real, Miramar business owner, which we love and celebrate our Miramar business owners because they really add to our community. So thank you so much for what you do. You're centrally located in Miramar, which I love. People from all parts of Miramar can come visit your location. Now, I don't know, your website is Exquisite Creations with a K.
Yes.
.com, correct?
Yes.
Now, I went on her website before the show. Her desserts are amazing.
Thank you.
The attention to detail, I love. And, tell us about some of the creative things you do, because I don't think, for our audience who can't see or maybe they'll probably go on your website after this because you should. Tell us a little bit about some of your favorite projects that you've done.
Well, I love making cake pops, which I was doing before I came here because Christmas is my favorite holiday. So I'm very excited about Christmas and the things that we're going to do. Now that I'm out of my home and I have a much larger scale of product and so much space and refrigeration that I can do, the possibilities are endless. But I'm definitely looking forward to Christmas, to doing the Christmas cakes that go up like the Christmas tree. Christmas cookies. I'm so excited about our winter camp. So when the kids are out of school for the 2 weeks that they'll have the winter break, they can come there, and every day from that Tuesday, because Monday is Christmas, we're going to have camp. So on Monday, they'll learn cake pops. Tuesday, they'll learn cookies. They'll learn how to make cupcakes. So every day they do something different. So I'm just excited to actually get out there and put my work out there. What you saw on my website was just a glimpse of what I can do because, I was at home and I was a cottage food baker. And now I'm just so excited to really bring it all together. The unicorn is a big fad that's out now.
Yes, they're so
I love the unicorn. The drip cakes.
Yes.
A lot of times, because I'm a mom, so this is what drives me. I think that everybody's party is my party. So that's why I try to perfect every single dessert, because when you have your event and your professional photographers there, you want to make sure everything looks perfect. So I put my heart and soul into every order for every customer that I possibly can.
And your passion exudes, especially like in this conversation, like I feel it. And if you, like I said, see her work, you can see, like I said, the attention to detail. She loves what she does. And I think, there are people who have a job and they do it, and they might not do it to their best of their abilities. They think, whatever, this is going to make me a little bit of extra money, I'm going to do this. But for you, I can tell it's not about the money. It's really a passion and a career that's really taken off. And to top it all off, you're amazing at it. So
Thank you.
we're very excited. Now, you say you're also doing like special Christmas orders. You're taking holiday
Yes.
orders and things like that. So people can visit your storefront,
Yes.
or they can reach out to you via
Online
phone,
or
her
phone.
email. I think it's her email's info@exquisite creations, and that's creations with a K.com.
That's correct.
And she's very fast to reply also, which is very good, especially for
My
a
phone's
business
always
owner.
in my hand.
Yeah, so reach out to her. I think, and you really do custom orders for really anything. So if you have a special
Yes.
idea and you're looking for something,
Baby showers,
Special.
bachelorette showers, weddings.
you do it all.
Yes.
One-stop shop. And event coordination too, which is
Yes.
amazing.
Thanksgiving is right around the corner, so I urge you. We will be taking orders until Sunday. We're open today from 11 to 6. We're going to go finish baking now when we're done
Yes.
here. And you can stop by between now and Sunday. I'm actually going to have $1 cupcakes for the show for everybody this weekend. So if you want to stop by and sample, because I know people are very picky about what they eat, that's why I do what I do, because I want the best ingredients, the finest
Yes.
quality. I'm up 4 or 5 there baking every morning just
Oh,
about.
wow.
So we'll be taking orders until Sunday. You can come in and place an order. All mini cupcakes will be $1 for the entire weekend. So if you want to come in and sample and then place your order, you're more than welcome to. And I'm there 90% of the time, so you'll get to actually meet me and have a conversation with me and
Thank you.
get an exquisite experience.
An exquisite experience at Exquisite Creations. Now, our studio is telling us that we have to taste the cupcakes. So
Okay.
We're going to taste them. So tell us about the 2 flavors you have here.
Well,
first.
this is banana pudding and this is key lime. Key lime
Mm-hmm.
gives you like a little kick. You can feel that lime in your throat. It has cream cheese icing. And this is my signature icing for my banana pudding. We were rushing, so we didn't put the vanilla wafer because, you know, banana pudding has vanilla wafers, okay?
Yes. So, no, if you get it in the store, there's a wafer on top.
Yes, you're going to definitely get a wafer on top for the banana pudding. So the banana pudding has like a whipped banana icing.
Which is your favorite?
Well, out of the 2, probably key lime.
Key lime. Okay, so I'm going to taste the key lime because I like to taste the baker's favorite. And then you have to taste one too.
Okay.
So we'll both have one. So you can get a real reaction. And this is my first cupcake. I took the farthest one because I love to make life difficult.
And that's cream cheese icing that, again, I make from scratch. There's no container.
No,
It's
everything.
me and cream cheese making it happen.
So first impressions, I can tell you it's very fluffy. It's not like some of those like dense, full like we won't name bakeries, but some bakeries you go to, it's like dense and
That's why it's called Exquisite Creations.
Yes.
I wanted flavors that you can't get everywhere.
Right.
You can't go in commercial stores, and you know there are other bakeries that I also support as well. But I wanted flavors that, you know, I have to go to Exquisite Creations
to
because
get, because they only have
right,
it there.
like even I make the miniature sweet potato pies.
You can't get that anywhere.
You know, peach cobbler. My family's from Georgia, from Atlanta.
We're gonna taste this. Hold on, please hold.
I'll eat as you eat.
This is so good.
Cupcakes for breakfast.
I love the flavor. The lime, like you said, like hits you, and the
Yes,
cream
it
cheese. And I like that it's not overwhelmingly sweet. It's really good, and I want to eat the rest of the cupcake, but we're on air, so I won't be greedy. But everyone, check out Exquisite Creations. Tell us your storefront again. It's in the Miramar shops.
Yes, we're located on the corner of Miramar Parkway, I believe in Douglas, right by the high school. So there's ICANN Fitness in there. There's like 2 churches. There's a salon and a barber shop. We're right in the middle.
Yes, so check them out. Also online, exquisitecreationswithak.com.
On Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, Facebook and Instagram as well. What a great interview.
Absolutely. It was so good to see 2 women doing their thing and doing so right in the city of Miramar. It just speaks to the diversity of our community here.
Yes, and 2 women, you know, really who kind of risked it all, really, to make a name for themselves and kind of branch out on their own. Really inspiring, especially to all of those aspiring entrepreneurs out there.
Right, definitely a sweet ending to 2017, so that was a great one for us to cover.
Yes, so we're so excited. Thank you all for tuning in to this special portion of Good Morning Miramar. We're happy to bring you some of the best of our 2017 episodes this week. We look forward to joining you again next year.
Yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can still find us right here in Miramar every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. See you in 2018.
Bye.